Do you have all your stuff figured out?
No.
The order?
I'd be
The song?
be a lot richer if I did.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I've got the order and the song.
So yeah, I can press the button.
The notes for this show have been produced.
So you get your producer credit because you did notes.
The pre-show notes.
All right, okay. Here we go. Producer Steve says we can start the show. Hey everyone, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Steven. This is 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast.
Been talking weird show for some reason.
Yep.
We're talking weird today.
This first ad was sent by Sean. Nope, just kidding.
Dave Santander.
Dave Santander. It's been a minute, bud. Do you want the French or the English version?
The English, please.
This is a guitar from the Resophonics series combining a Debro.
I actually provided you with that translation because I knew you were going to try to read the French.
Its body is made of basswood enhanced with a Dobro style chrome plate, which gives it great resonance and projection. Its neck is made of maple combined with a rosewood fingerboard and a 12-inch radius. On the electronic side, it is equipped with a lipstick pickup in the neck position and a piezo sensor under the bridge, powered by a 9-volt battery. Thanks to its independent controls, bridge volume, neck volume, master tone, mix volume, it offers a wide range of sounds. And then it says, ho, ho, ho.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Dude, do you know?
Settle down.
Hold on. Do you know about the big French meme right now?
No, what's the big French meme right now?
It's mother flipping Le Poisson Steve. You know about Le Poisson Steve?
No.
Dude, Grant sent it to me. Grant from Big Ear Pedals.
Uh-huh.
And it's this French like electronic music guy made a song called Le Poisson Steve. It's about a little orange fish.
Named Steve?
Named Steve. He's orange. Il est orange.
Uh-huh.
Il est de bras, which is arms. Et de jambes, which is legs. He has arms and legs.
Are you sure it's about a fish?
Le Poisson Steve. Yeah, it's like somebody, and then this person, someone else animated it and went hella viral.
And the fish has arms and legs.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not a frog?
No, it's definitely a fish.
With arms and legs.
Yeah, it's called Le Poisson Steve. Poisson is French for fish.
All right. If you say so. It sounds crazy to me.
It's a bop, man. That song slaps.
I'll have to look it up.
It's a straight banger.
So anyways, speaking of crazy things, look at this guitar.
Is this branded?
It's a resonator.
I see that.
Meant to be played as a dobro, as a slide guitar.
Philippe Dubreuil.
I want this to be a regular guitar. Not that I don't like a dobro every now and then.
Yeah.
Or a resonator as well. I would love to have an electric resonator in my life at some point. But wow, this is cool. I love all the little angles. I love the straight edges. Oh man, the finish on it is cool. It has this kind of like speckled spackle, like paint splash sort of thing going on. That's like kind of subtle. It's like a darker blue on a lighter blue. It looks totally spacey. It looks totally futuristic. It works as a body shape.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I love the knobs being on that upper horn like that. And like kind of sunk down into that deep German carve.
Oh, there it is. Philippe Dubreuil. I don't know. Starship Gravant 2024 spattered blue, $2,200 plus a ton of shipping because it's in France. This is being sold direct. I found the website for this company, and there is some cool looking things on here.
Oh, that does look cool.
Products. Let's look at
I'm not going to show you. You have to look for yourself.
Let's look at
Whoa.
Let's look at the Resophonics. There's a bunch of some of these kind of look like that Jay Tercer, right?
Yeah.
That Adam had.
Uh-huh.
I don't see
I think
any of
this
the
one is
exact
definitely
one.
cooler than all those.
There's a bunch of like artists. Apparently there's a Robert Smith model,
Huh.
an Iggy Pop model, a Vernon Reed model,
These guys look like they know what they're doing.
a Joey Perry model, as in Joey Perry from Aerosmith, I guess.
It was like a Tim and Eric version of Joe Perry. It's me, Joey Perry, from Aerosmith.
Apparently there's a guitar player named Judge Fred in France.
That's a wild take on an Explorer.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff on this site.
Huh. Everyone go check out this builder. They're making wild stuff. I mean, just by looking at this, you can tell that they're making wild stuff. But yeah. I maybe it wouldn't need to be so wide around, like how it's really wide around the resonator area. But there's a lot about this shape that I really like, and I'd love to see it as a regular guitar. This is one of those ads where it's just like, I don't have anything to say other than like, look at it. It looks cool.
Yeah, I really, this has kind of been a trend maybe for a longer time than I think. But this has kind of that live ebony look going in the fretboard. And I really like that look.
Yeah, I don't
I
like
see that more and more.
Taylor started doing that because they wanted to just use ebony as it was instead of trying to pick all the best pieces so they could, get more wood out of each tree. I think it works for this. I think that's a fun look.
Yeah, I really like it.
The price really isn't that bad either.
No.
Like that's getting into like entry level Gibson sort of stuff. But instead of getting a boring old Les Paul or SG, you get this wild thing.
Yeah.
Too cool. I've got no criticisms. I've got nothing to say about what I think the price should be or who should buy it or whatever. Like it's all obvious. There it is. Look at this cool thing.
I'm wondering how much these are like new, if you can get them anywhere.
It's got like an airline influence to it. It's got that Jetsons sort of thing happening. And I know that like it's probably feeding off some Gretsch influences from old like lap steels and stuff, because they would have that kind of like Art Deco meets futuristic sort of styling on them. But man, what a cool execution. Thanks for sending it, Dave. Maybe Dave will win right out of the gate.
That'd be funny.
We'll have to wait till the end of the episode to find out, though. Don't anyone turn off the podcast or the video cast or whatever you want to call this thing that you're watching. Wait to find out at the very end of the episode who won, who sent the best ad. We're going to give them 25 virtual dollars.
Imagine you just assume like, oh man, if my ad gets, you've looked through the description, but the description, I don't put the winner. And so you just see, like you look at it, you see that actually you wouldn't even know that this was Dave's based on what I put in the description.
Yeah.
So,
Steve is so vague with his descriptions.
Good job, me. If people really want to know the answer, they could go to the website because I post the winner when I do the thing.
That's true.
But anyway, yeah, this was super cool. You know what else is super cool, right?
Our sponsors.
Our sponsors. This episode is sponsored by Stringjoy.
That's right. Look down here. There's the logo.
Yeah.
There's strings dancing around on either side of the screen.
Are there really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. You never seen that part? There's packs of strings on the screen right now.
Wow.
There's one right over here. There's another right over here.
And it's just going like
you could just reach over and try to grab it, but you can't get it. You can't get it, Steve. No matter how many times you try, you'll never get those strings. Because those strings are for the kids, and we're boring adults. Stringjoy strings. They're strings for kids. Adults don't get it.
Adults aren't allowed here.
Yeah.
Not even Mr. Groove.
No dads.
Yeah.
This is the no dad zone. Get yourself some Stringjoy strings for kids. Stringjoy strings, the only strings for kids. Parents don't understand. Does this have any legs? Is this a good sponsorship spot?
I've been watching very slowly. Like it's been my short show. And I definitely, I kind of tried to go there. I didn't really need to. That whole thing just felt like an episode of Detroiters.
I waited way too long to watch that show.
I'm watching it for the first time right now.
And when I finally watched it, I was like, damn it, I should have watched this sooner. Yeah. At least I'm watching it now.
Yeah.
It's that type of show. Like, at least I did watch it.
Yeah.
I didn't put it off forever and then get to heaven and God's there and he's like, you expected someone else to be here. And by the way, did you ever watch Detroiters? It was an excellent show.
And you were like,
I
no.
never watched it. Do you have it up here? And like, no, we don't have physical media up here, and we don't really have the streaming services either. We don't want to pay for them. We got other stuff you can watch though, but we don't have Detroiters. And they're like, no, I thought this was heaven. Wait, am I in hell?
They only get.
I'm in a Twilight Zone
They
episode.
only get the Trinity Broadcasting Network and the Christian Broadcasting Network
and C-SPAN.
and C-SPAN, oddly enough,
Mm-hmm.
and Fox News. This
I
episode,
feel like those two are not compatible. I don't.
it's
I
something
don't.
for everyone.
I'm not aware of Fox News ever going after C-SPAN, but I imagine that when they figure out the angle, they will.
I don't think you can really go after C-SPAN. I think it's all just raw footage with no commentary.
That's the part that they hate.
All right, this episode is also brought to you by Chase Bliss.
All that back there, that was a String Joy sponsorship. Did you enjoy that sponsorship? Feel free to click the link down below. Go check out some strings. They're not only for kids, they're also for teens. So anyways, let's talk about Chase Bliss.
Gosh, this is still happening.
Chase Bliss. They make pedals for teenagers. Dads and grads. Grab yourself some Chase Bliss pedals.
What about
Has Mother's Day happened yet?
What about women? Can women buy it?
Well, I just mentioned Mother's Day. If you're a mother, you know, there's no gift greater than a Chase Bliss pedal on Mother's Day. Forget flowers.
I think Mother's Day might be next Monday from when this episode drops.
Perfect. You mean Sunday. It's always on a Sunday.
Sunday, sorry.
Sunday. Mother's Day. Get your mom a Dark World.
Yeah. Is your mom an only child? Not anymore. Get her on the list for the brothers.
Brothers.
Is your mom in a bad mood? Then get her a Mood Mark II.
Don't get her a gift certificate to the spa. Get her a Therme. It's a delay that sounds weird. Seriously, though, get your mom a Chase Bliss pedal for Mother's Day.
She'll appreciate it.
Yeah, she'll be amazed.
Ryan.
Uh-huh.
I got a question for you.
I have an answer for you.
How do you know
My favorite kind of question.
when you have too many guitars?
Oh, Steve, this is the question that I asked on Threads.
This is the question that you
Like
asked on
2 weeks
Threads.
ago.
Like-
and now you're asking
And now
me
I'm
my
asking
own
you
question?
Your own question.
Do you think I have too many guitars?
I don't know. How do you know if you have too many guitars?
Well, let's figure it out. I don't want to read any of the answers that
you
other
don't
people...
want. You don't actually.
No, let's do our own.
Because there's some like cringe ass answers.
I know.
on
I don't
here.
want to read them. I don't want
I
to cringe right now.
only want to read the cringe ones.
Okay, read the cringe ones. I'll let you have this.
When your wife doesn't recognize some of the older ones.
Okay, so we're just doing wife bad jokes now.
You don't need independent knowledge of this. Your wife will remind you.
Okay, all right.
Let's see. And those were the two that I remember. I got.
Those are the two that Steve really had a problem with. And he just
your
wanted to
daughter.
read them to me.
Your daughter complains because she doesn't have any storage space under her bed.
That's actually pretty bad. If you're storing guitars underneath your kids' beds, yeah, that's too many.
Let's see.
I gotta put Threads on my iPad. I love how big that is.
It's funny. I know and understand each of those individual words, but that combination makes no sense
all
whatsoever.
right. Did anyone do the one more?
A few people did
All
the
right,
one more,
of course they
including a GIF of Albert Einstein at the chalkboard where F equals the optimal number of guitars and X equals your current number of guitars. Then F equals X plus 1. Here's the thing. Okay, no one's going to see this, but in the definition where they define F and X, F is lowercase, but in the actual drawing of then F equals X plus 1, it's a capital F.
It's all screwed up.
And in like mathematics, typically a lowercase and an uppercase would represent different things. They're not just interchangeable.
They screwed up. They
You
screwed up
can't
the
just
math.
be like, what?
It's not solved yet, is what Steve's saying.
This person just says you have to sleep on the couch.
And your couch is made out of guitars.
Yeah.
So seriously though, like,
Classic Mean Girls gif. The limit does not exist.
all right.
All right, that's it. That's all we got.
Let's talk about the reality of it, because I am there. I am
You are there.
absolutely there. I have a built-in limit where when I run out of wall hooks and floor stands, then I hit
That floor stand's
point.
empty. It's got a shirt on.
I know,
it.
but I've got 2 guitars on the couch
Oh, right.
over in the other
But you
room.
got 2 hooks back here. that
Okay,
are
I
empty.
know. So I've got 1 stand free, but I've also got 2 boxes right there. And the guitar that I did a demo of today is in a bag right there. And I've
Wow.
got a Jaguar in a bag right there. And I've got a PRS in a bag over there.
Okay,
So I am
all right.
past the limit. All my hooks are used.
Yeah.
I need to get rid of stuff. But how do I know I have too much stuff, too many guitars, besides the hook and stand thing that I have worked out? I'm going to, one that's come to me, which I definitely relate to in my situation,
Yeah.
is when like you pick up a guitar and you realize you changed strings on it
Mhm.
years ago
Mhm.
and they're still fresh.
And they're still
You
fresh.
haven't played it. You
Right,
changed strings
right.
on it 3 or 4 years ago, and the strings are still brand new because you, after changing the strings, you played it one time and then you hung it
Yeah,
up. Like
that's rough.
That's bad. And I have a few of those around where it's like, hey, I changed strings on this before Guitar House, and that was 4 years ago. You know?
Jeez. Yeah, I think so. There was one response from Emily from Get Offset who basically said when you get a stomach ache when you think about it.
Ooh. Yeah,
And
I'm there.
I think that's like a big part of it. The way I think about it is like when you forget that you have certain guitars, like if somebody were to say, "Hey man, why don't you ever play your Telecaster?" and you're like,
I have a
"Do
Telecaster?
I even own a Telecaster?" Like you don't know.
Which Telecaster are you talking about?
Yeah.
I've
Or-
got 19 of them.
Yeah, or if you're like that, you're like, "Oh, I don't like."
If someone was like, "Hey Ryan, where's your Jaguar?" I'd be like, "You'd have to be more specific." And they're like, "Oh, your
Yeah.
Jaguar with stock single coil pickups." You'll have to be more specific. Oh, your Jaguar that like
Right.
is ridiculous.
Your
We
Jaguar
revealed
with
like 2 weeks ago that I've got 5 Jaguars right now.
Right.
That's what got me thinking about this. Is like I've got too many of one style of guitar. I've got too many of every style of guitar. Really, I don't have a single Les Paul or SG.
So I do have a duplicated shape, but interestingly, maybe not that interesting.
It's probably pretty boring.
I have no duplicate guitars.
None at all.
No. Like
But you have the same shape. But it's
Right.
like you've got a
But-
Strat, but one's humbucker and one's single.
no, I'm saying like a duplicated shape would be like if you had a Fender Strat and like a Shure Classic
Okay.
S.
All right. Okay.
So Classic S is, I think, that's the model.
I'd count those as both being Strats.
Right.
You
But
know.
but I'm so like, but even the one that I have is even more odd than that because I have a parts Telecaster, which I would just say is a Squier Telecaster for all things considered. And I have a PV Generation, which is a Telecaster shape, but it's like a carved top.
It's a modern
it's very
metal-ish
different.
sort of,
Yeah.
humbucker.
It's like if you had a Les Paul and like in a ESP.
It's a humbucker, but it's
Horizon.
for chugging, not for twanging.
Sure, it's not even right. Yeah, in that case, yeah.
Yeah.
In my case, both the Tellys have singles, but
Okay.
anyway.
All right.
In fact, my Squier one probably chugs better than the PV one.
What are the limits of a collection? Like space is a big one. That's
Space.
That's what I covered with like I've run out of space. Here we are. Maintaining them. I've mentioned that. Like I put strings on and
Right.
then I don't play them for years. I'm not maintaining them. The fretboards are sitting there drying.
Yeah.
Like if I pick it up, I'm gonna have to like put oil on the fretboard to get it back to normal.
Yeah.
Is there another overarching theme? Redundancy, like you have too many of the same thing. You don't need so many Jaguars. Ryan,
I'm a big fan of like if you haven't picked it up in X time, which I guess goes into what you're saying about the strings. Like that's kind of that same thing.
right. What about just like unrealized potential that you're never gonna, like I have a lot of things around where it's like, oh man, it'd be fun to mod this.
Mm,
And then when I'm realistic with myself, it's like I really only have a couple weeks or days out of the year where I'm able to do guitar modification videos because I'm spending the rest of my time doing demos that pay me money so I can earn a living sort of thing. So it's like every guitar that comes into my possession, I'm like, oh, I could mod this thing. Oh, what if I changed all the pickups? What if I made a pick guard? What if I refinished it? What if I did a different bridge? What if I did this invention or whatever? And so many times I've had to look at a guitar and been like, you're never going to do it. Yeah. You're never going to do it. Just sell it.
I have to imagine that on like your, honestly, the guitar, when every time you mention that idea, the guitar that I always think of is the SX Liquid.
I know. I've already modified it a few times though. I just need to get back to it. I just need to put I need to commit pickups to it because I tried a really cheap I tried a real cheap mini bucker in the bridge and it was super anemic compared to the P90s that are in the rest of the guitar. Ultimately I wanted to cut a new pick guard for it and put in a completely different set of pickups, but I don't know what to do right now. Right. But I'm holding on to the Liquid. I've got 5 Jaguars. I need to take care of that situation.
But they're all different, right?
Kind of.
Well, you've got like
I think still need to do a video about that.
Your vintage one and the Vintera are kind of the same, right?
I'm gonna try to do a quick count of strats. I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 1 in the back there. That's kind of stratty. So 5. I've got that Fesley. So that's 6. I'm going to guess that if I actually went through all my bags and stuff, I've got 8 things that qualify as strats in the house. I've got 2 Jazzmasters, which doesn't sound that crazy compared to everything else. Yeah. But there's definitely some redundancy that I should take care of around here.
You have crently no Gibson style guitars, right?
I have that Epiphone.
I mean, would you count which Epiphone?
The Crestwood or the Wilshire?
Oh, that's right.
It's in a case right now.
Would you count the West Creek Racer as being SG?
Yeah, it's SG. Yeah. I also have 2 Explorer style guitars.
You have that one. What's the other one?
The other one is the one with the fender neck that's up in the office. I also have
a Fender Flying V.
I have my Fender Flying V. I've got all these project guitars that are. I did them all before the channel.
I think the Fender Flying V, I think you could get. I bet you could get at least 400 for that.
I know I could sell it, but I don't want to.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I mean, it's not because back in the day when you first put that together before you did the refinish, it was like, wow, that's such a dumb idea. It's worthless. But I feel like with the refin and everything going on, like.
Now I know what Steve really thinks about my Fender Flying V.
No, I mean, that was a conversation.
Sure. No, it's a Hondo body with an early 2000s Mexican Fender neck on it. Like it's a fun project. The reality is that I personally need to trim down my redundancies. I need to get myself down to at least 3 Jaguars. I could probably get rid of 1 Jazzmaster, even though that thought hurts. I need to get rid of some stratty things. I don't need to have so many strats. It's stupid how many strats I have around here. Oh, I didn't even count the one I've got the Floyd Strat hanging over there. So I've probably got 9.
How does this, just, pulling back the curtain a little bit, typically your policy has been that when you get something sent by, for review or for demo, that you try to keep it around for like 6 months or whatever. How does that play for, like, to me, that's a policy that probably makes sense for a brand like Fender or for pedal companies. But how do you play that, or how do you feel about that with something like Enya or like Fesley or whatever? Do you feel like
a Donner or something like
you need to keep those around? Because I don't know if those. Now, I guess you did like the Afforda Strat series where all of a sudden it was a good thing you kept some of those budget models around. But when you think about that now, it's like you have do you still have that Fesley Les Paul?
I don't. I sold that to Robert. because he wanted to do
Right.
project. He actually did projects on it.
Oh, okay.
He threw a trem on there and stuff.
Oh,
He's
nice.
even thrown hardware at it.
So I guess that's just like my thought is I do feel like in the last couple of years, your collection has shifted very heavy Fender.
Yeah, well, they keep sending me
no,
stuff.
I
and I
know.
love Fender stuff, so it's like it's hard for me to get rid of it.
So it's like it's kind of like narrowed into,
I know.
but it's also you're getting guitars that are nicer than like a Forta guitars
Right,
from
right.
Amazon. So even though they are worth more to turn around and sell, they also are better playing instruments. So you probably bond to them more.
Also, like they have way more mod potential because you can get parts for them. You know,
and so some of this goes into like, I got a Facebook ad for an estate sale not
Okay.
too long ago. And it was kind of like Sassy's estate sale where there were, musical instrument estate sale. This one had like 250 units in it. And
units of what?
like each lots,
Okay.
like each instrument,
Item, yeah.
right? Each item. And I don't know, the people who are replying on threads, I don't know what kind of guitars they own. I don't know what kind of collectors they are. In my head, I think there's almost like this functional definition of whether or not you are a collector of guitars or a hoarder of guitars almost turns into like, how hard will it be for your family to sell these things when you die? Because, and not to be morbid, but like,
Please be morbid.
looking at like Sassy's estate sale, like I was in chats with other people in the 60 Cycle Hum fandom who are like, man, I really hope I get this.
Right.
Because there was a lot of nice guitars in there. But then this thing that I got served on Facebook the other day, it was like 15 Oscar Schmidt acoustic guitars.
Right.
And, just all of these things.
Six
Like
Mitchells.
there was at least one Esteban in there.
Right.
And Keith Urban guitar and just all of these off-brand, like Baltimore and whatever, like these, the average value of the instrument in this collection must have been like $80.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's like, I'm not saying you can't own cheap stuff. I think the whole Amazon thing is I think there's some good things about that in terms of accessibility, about not being limited to only your Mitchells and whatever, like your local store house brand. You can buy and test out all these things from Amazon.
I mean, this is a bit.
Sorry, but I do, and so there's nothing like I have a Mitchell acoustic. It was my first acoustic guitar. I thought about selling it. I don't know what I could get for it, but I also like, and I haven't. That's a guitar I probably haven't played in 3 or 4 years, at least. It's just been in a case the whole time. But at the same time, like there's like some nostalgia there, and I can't imagine these people who have like dozens and dozens of like really budget instruments actually have like any sort of emotional connection to them. So now you just pass, like, to me, it just, my assumption is that you're passing a burden on to
Right, totally.
the rest of your family.
I've already told my wife that if I ever pass in an untimely fashion, that Steve and I have an agreement that we'll sell each other's guitars for each other.
So this becomes my emotional burden.
Right, but like if you died,
I'm
then
kidding.
I'd help
No, I
out
know.
your family by selling your stuff too. And figure out what everyone wants to keep and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like neither of our spouses wants to deal with this nonsense. Like we've only got 2 guitars behind us right now, but looking across the room and knowing what else is in the space capsule it's daunting.
But at least like I can think about even, joking about the Flying V and you got, like the SX or like the James Hetfield knockoff thing. Like those are things that are probably only like the SX is maybe $150-$200, but you have a lot of nice guitars too.
Yeah.
And so you have this variety. I'm like I said, like I think you could make the argument that you have like a disorganized collector's mindset going on here, where you are at least somewhat selective about what sticks around.
I am. And going back, you were asking like, oh, do you still keep, like cheap guitars around for 6 months? No, I can't do that anymore. Like, whether I like them or not, I was doing affordable stuff a lot more often. And so I was keeping a lot of cheap guitars around to do that because I wanted to have a variety of cheap guitars to throw at the affordable. I'm not doing a lot of that anymore because affordable kind of dead. Like there's not a lot of new affordable pedals. It kind of covered everything. Every now and then a new line pops up and I take a look at it and I think about it. And sometimes I cover it, but it's not the way it was where it's like, I'm trying to cover everything that's out here. Like I've run out of tread on those tires. So it's like, I don't need to keep, around 4 different affordable guitars. I have a couple that are staples for me. But yeah, like I just covered that Fesley. I'm probably going to move that pretty quick. I've got 2 other guitars over here. I've probably already filmed at least one of them before now. I've got a Sonicake and I've got an Ert. We'll see how good those are. That Enya I'm wrestling with. Right. Because it's fun. It's got that built-in speaker thing. It actually plays really nice, but it's like, I'm not going to use that in a demo.
Yeah.
So what am I doing with it?
You're going to play it out on your deck.
But like I could do that with a lot of stuff.
That's true.
So I need to, the question of this topic is how do you know? And my answer is that I already know. So how do you know?
Yeah.
Like how do you out there in audience land on the surface of the planet that we broadcast to, how do you know that you have too many guitars? Do you have too many guitars? Maybe it's time to take a look at your collection and ask yourself that hard question and figure out how you know that. What are the criteria? What is the limit where when you hit it, you're like, that's the line. That's how I know I have too many guitars.
Guitars are so interesting because they do have like an aesthetic to them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of variety to them. I'm sure there's someone out there where that has 30 banjos, but I can't imagine that the average banjo aficionado owns more than like 5 banjos.
Sure.
Whereas I think the average guitar aficionado probably owns at least 10 guitars. Maybe 10, maybe like 6 guitars.
I think it depends on how you define an aficionado.
I'm saying like the kind of person who watches this program.
Oh, they probably have 15.
Like that I'm saying like someone who's like watches YouTube videos regularly.
Right.
Not just somebody who's like, oh, I like guitar, I love guitar. And the flip side of it is like, it doesn't mean anything. You hear about people want to dunk on Jobo because he's got, 50 burst Les Pauls or whatever. They want to talk about John 5 and his 75 Telecasters or whatever. And that's what it is. It doesn't mean that they're good or bad. The number of guitars you own doesn't mean you're good or bad at guitar. I own 4 basses, I think now, and some other number of guitars.
Well, you got to cover all your bases.
I'm still bad at both of those things. And there are people who are like monster professional guitar players who own like 1 guitar. And actually, so I think
I don't get that at all.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it. I don't support that sort of lifestyle. Honestly,
I forget. I think it was NAMM 2024. I was talking to Pete Jonas, who is now like a guitarist and producer out of LA, and he's worked with a lot of artists. But I mean, I've known him since like Cowerfest in like 2018.
Sure.
And Pete.
Yeah.
And I remember I was talking to him, I was like, how did you end up playing bass for Halsey for like this jazz session thing? And he goes, the funny thing about that is he goes, I don't own a bass. He goes, I borrowed that. I'm pretty sure it was Pete I had that conversation with. But it's just
he's watching this episode.
Yeah.
Like,
he's
what
like,
the hell are you talking about,
that was my bass. I love that bass. No,
I own every bass I've ever played, and I've played every bass.
But it's this thing where it's like, yeah, there's guys out there who are just like monster.
I know,
like
because they care about music. They don't care about gear.
They're doing the gig thing, and it's like but if they need to like sit in on a session for a bass, they're like, yeah, I can play it, but like, can I borrow someone's bass?
Here's the reality though. Like, if we get down and we're talking about need,
sure,
no one needs a guitar.
The topic,
Like that's full stop, full period. Like you need food, you need shelter, like at that level. But like if you're a professional musician, a professional guitarist,
right.
the reality is that you probably only need 2 electrics and a classical acoustic and a steel string acoustic, or whatever variety of style of things that you actually incorporate into your professional gigs. Everything beyond that is collection. Everything beyond having your functional tool and maybe like a reasonable backup for it is just collection. Like what I have, what you have is collection.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say
Always.
on this topic right now?
I don't know.
Okay.
You want to wrap it up?
I think I want to wrap this up.
Sure.
And I want to spin off of what you're saying for people who have like a bunch of guitars, or if anyone out there like has, because there's people who, talking about what I was talking about earlier, like individual item collection value type of thing. There's people out there who have like, a dozen Gibson Les Pauls that are, standard or better, right? So we're talking about an average guitar value of like $3,000, 10 of these things or whatever. And the question I would turn, how do you know when you have too many guitars? I would flip that to, how do you know you need another guitar? Like, what's the thought process if you already have a collection?
Why are the other guitars not doing it for you?
If you already own 10 Les Pauls, what's the driver for buying the 11th?
Yeah,
Les
what's
Paul?
that?
Is it just like you think the color's cool?
Well, it's the gold top Steven that's got mini buckers.
Maybe that's what it is. So, if
It might even have a big spee.
I just would like to hear about that kind of thought process in the comments. This is a judgment-free zone. I'm just curious.
This is a judgment-free zone. This isn't. I will judge you.
All judgment zone. I mean, we talked about this 2 episodes ago. I just bought that. My daughter likes to call it the Rahoney.
The Roni?
Roni little stinker. She calls it Rahoney.
What's it been like having a Roni?
It's freaking awesome.
There you go.
But it's kind of one of those things like, I like my need for that was because I had played it before, and it's the kind of personal connection to the instrument.
You need to make sure the right person has it.
That's what I felt like, right?
Yeah. It needs to come home.
Yeah. And but then when I just see like other guitars, because I go on Facebook Marketplace all the time, very rarely do I look at something and think like, oh, I need that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I want that. I don't have that.
So
click.
A mutual friend of ours, Davey, I was talking to him the other day, and he was like, "Which of your guitars is your favorite?" And I realized I don't really have a favorite. I generally don't pick favorites for most things.
Right.
I'm not someone who's like, "Well, this is my favorite flavor of ice cream. Here's my favorite hamburger spot. Like, here's my favorite shirt." Like, I don't think about things that way.
Chocolate, In-N-Out.
And what I realized,
Bees music.
and what I was telling him is like, I don't pick favorites. I just want to try everything.
Right.
Like, that's my thing. That's why I do demo videos. I legitimately want to try everything. That's just it for me. And sometimes that turns into ownership.
Right.
And then I end up with too much stuff. And if I've already tried it, then it's time to sell it. And that's really the reality of it. I need to look at my collection like, I've already tried it. If I have redundancy or I don't have an immediate need, then I should probably clear it out. So that's
fair.
Where I'm at. Yeah.
It's fair.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah. This next ad was sent by...
I forget which one we're doing. Oh, yeah.
Is it Sean?
Sean Agate.
Sean Agate. This is the Surf V.
Sean Agate.
Yeah, you really struggle with this one.
Yeah. So apparently, like this has some interesting elements to it.
This is $1,000.
I don't know why it's that price.
One of a kind surfboard guitar. This is the K59 SE model. The board was broken in half down in Island Beach State Park by a buddy of mine getting barreled, not knowing what to do. He threw it in his not getting barreled. Not knowing what to do, he threw it in his backyard. I took it, repurposed it, and turned it into an ultimate shredding machine again. It has DiMarzio Norton with custom wiring, push-pull, a bunch of whatever. I'll be posting YouTube videos to listen to it. I believe it weighs about 5.5 pounds. It is very easy to play. The fretboard's been fully reconditioned. Patent pending slasher shred stock. This is the only moment in your life where you can say that your guitar got a sick barrel. This is literally a piece of epoxy art, and nobody has done this before. They play beautifully. You can see them on YouTube at Wretched Rich Custom Guitars. Obviously, with any guitar or surfboard for that matter, you should never leave these in direct sun. Treat it as you would a normal guitar. You wipe down with just a damp, soft towel, and repairs easily with clear epoxy. This probably won't come with an official gig bag, but I am going to have a sock that I've been manufacturing so the board/guitar will be very well protected during shipping. As well, I'm going to offer free insured shipping anywhere in the world. Come and get your Wretched Rich. Surfboard in picture 1 not included. The other guitar in picture 9 and 10 not included. I'm being nice. Okay. Please have an open mind when purchasing. Ask any questions if need be. You're buying a custom piece of art. One of a kind, never done before. If you want a Les Paul, go buy one.
Okay.
This plays beautifully and sounds incredible. Let's have fun. Dude, my guitar surfed.
I've thought about exploring this before, about trying to make a guitar out of a piece of broken surfboard. I actually saw a broken surfboard at the beach a few months ago, and I was like, I should grab that and try to do this.
They turned the fin into the headstock.
I know. That's what made me stop and look at this, like, what is going on here? And then it took me a while to realize that the body is made out of a piece of surfboard foam, which, like, my questions with that are, is it structurally viable to do that? Because surfboard foam is not strong. It's soft stuff. It cracks and it breaks when you flex it. Making it into a flying V too, I don't know, maybe that's better.
Do you think the epoxy is
because then it's extra resin and fiberglass around it?
Yeah, is the epoxy or resin, is that enough to give it some additional structural integrity?
Theoretically, here it has the stringer intact. There's a photo where you can see the stringer down the middle of it. Surfboards have a thin piece of balsa that goes down the middle, and that gives it strength along its length, and to add to the strength of the fiberglass, but it gives it strength along its length so that you can stand on the dang thing.
Yeah.
It's the thing I've always thought, if I was going to do this, I would have to cut a new stringer for it out of a piece of wood that's stronger than balsa, because balsa is so soft. Not because I don't think a thick stringer of balsa would support the guitar, but I don't think that screws would stick in it. Like, I think you would strip out those holes immediately with any sort of screw to hold in the bridge. So I have questions about how the bridge is held in, like how secure it is. Maybe they poured a bunch of resin where it is and it's screwed into resin or something like that.
So is this green part, is that just a paint job?
I think that's some sort of colored epoxy, or it could be a paint job. That it's tough to tell from the photos because it's like they went for a really soft, unfocused look with the photos. They were trying to get arty, and it's like, we need to see the details. The edges of it are really sharp, which is not good for fiberglass and resin work. Resin and fiberglass does not like hard angles. It likes soft curves.
Right.
Like, sharp angles are, they're not strong when you're working with fiberglass and resin and surfboard foam. They ding and they crack really easily. So and it looks like it was cut pretty rough, which is interesting. Like, I'm very curious about this concept. I'm very curious about how strong it is, about how viable it is as a guitar. I want to know what it feels like, what it resonates like. I might have to do this myself eventually.
This is in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Though I think Sean Agate is in Australia.
I want to know what they did with the Strat jack that's on the side, because it's like half covered up. How did they pull that off? But you can see like the lumpiness of the resin and fiberglass or epoxy work that they did here. Like, it might be the first guitar made out of an old surfboard this way. I think I can do better.
Ryan, you're about to talk yourself into making a video.
I know, and it's gonna. My wife will hate it because it'll just stink up the whole space capsule. Like, working with resin is so stinky, and there would be.
Why did you even bring a surfboard to space?
I know. Well, you never know. We might escape orbit eventually and find ourselves on Titan.
Surfing the solar waves.
Doing some solar surfing. Totally. I mean, all that aside, the headstocks are wild on the two guitars pictured. Yeah. They've put a future fin over the headstock, covering most of the tuner. So this is ergonomically not great. And visually, it's barely even interesting. I'm glad they gave it a shot. I'm glad they tried to incorporate a fin somewhere. I would have turned that fin into a control plate.
That I feel like that would work better, but I guess they wanted to keep
it would have been
the surf thing going.
It would have been tricky on a V shape. It wouldn't have fit anywhere great, but like on some sort of Strat or Tele or even an offset sort of shape, that would the fin would have made a great control plate. It's not great as a headstock, in my opinion. See, I'm attacking this with like what I've thought about doing and what I would do different, sort of thing. I think it's fun that they did it. I think it's fun that they tried. Looking at the whole picture, the fin does work to complete the theme.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I saw someone playing this guitar on a stage, I might not immediately realize that the body was made out of a surfboard, but then that headstock would cause me to start asking questions and start looking at it closer.
I don't think that this is necessarily the best way to approach this.
I should have picked up that broken surfboard that was at the beach.
This piece of criticism. But the question I have for you is, how much? So this is a pretty wide surfboard too. It seems like would have had to have been pretty wide.
Well, it's a flying V. Yeah, well, surfboards they're wider than your body. They're like that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be.
I think of flying V's as like exceptionally wide.
They are, but it's still not wider than a surfboard.
If say this was like a 6-foot board, originally, how much is like a decent 6-foot board?
Like, are we talking like you're getting it brand new or you're getting it used?
You're getting it both. Let's say both.
So like,
because I don't really know. I'm trying to get the full picture here.
These days, if you're buying a brand new surfboard, it's probably going to be somewhere around $1,000.
Okay.
Like that's putting you kind of in squarely into middle tier quality.
Okay.
Sort of stuff. If
obviously I'm not talking about like, was it Wave Storm or whatever?
No, you're talking about a real glass.
Talking about
surfboard, like something that surfer would use.
If I go down to like Mitch's, what's kind of the price range I would?
Well, Mitch's is kind of boutique.
Is it boutique? Okay.
Yeah, so they have.
If I go to Claremont Surf Shop,
right, you're gonna find boards that kind of float in between $700 to probably $1,400. Okay. You know,
because my thought here is like this guy's kind of banking on the craftsmanship, but I'm kind of thinking like
it's a bit sloppy.
For this is $1,000, and I know you can't just say it's the sum of the parts, but that is a different criticism I could make.
He's selling the concept more than he's selling the execution.
Yeah. What I was going to say is, and we kind of never mind. It's DiMarzio Norton and a custom wiring set. So I guess like at least he didn't.
Are you trying to make a case for the cost of the materials?
I'm just trying to like get a sense of like. If I wanted to make this, and in order to make this, I had to buy a surfboard and then write it bad enough that it broke in half.
Okay. All right. So
how much would that cost me?
If you wanted to make this, you wanted to get yourself a cheap piece of surfboard foam.
Sure.
You can find surfboards all over Craigslist offer up in the $100 range.
In a good enough condition that I could convert it to this.
Yes. Even surfboards that are wrecked, there's enough foam left in there for you to cut a guitar body out of it. Like if I want, like, think about Prisma guitars where they recycle skateboards into guitars.
Yeah.
That is way, way, way harder than harvesting some material out of a surfboard. The challenging part of the surfboard is the material challenges, because it's not wood, it's soft foam that cracks
Right.
and breaks, and you can shape it with the lightest touch of sandpaper. Like, that's the reality of it. All the strength comes from the fiberglass and the resin. I want to know, like, if I did make a guitar out of a surfboard, what would its acoustic qualities be? Would it be dead, or would it resonate? Would there be any sustain? Would there be anything charming about it?
I think you're thinking about this all wrong, right? I think
Okay.
it depends on what type of board it was. So, you know,
Okay, yeah,
if you made this out of
I'm
like,
on board.
if you made this out of like, you know, a 6 foot, you know, whatever,
Like some
6 foot,
ripper
like,
shred
yeah,
stick.
like that guitar's gonna play
Yeah, it's gonna rip.
fast. It's gonna be maybe have some like real angular tonal qualities
Yeah,
to
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But you know,
Like
if you're
carve it up.
if you're building this out of like a 9, 10, you know, 11 footer,
Sure, yeah.
it's gonna be
11
more of a-
footer. That's long.
yeah, I don't know. 10, I know what 9 to 10 foot. That's like a
10,
long
10
board,
is
right?
like normal for a longboard.
yeah, like you're gonna get more of like a cruising. You know, you're just gonna.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a guitar that's gonna want to like lay back in the rhythm and kind of sit in the groove and
Uh-huh.
just kind of, you know, take its time. And if you were to make this out of a paddleboard, you could only play the Beach Boys on that guitar.
All right, all right.
Yeah, that's a law actually. If you make
That's
a
a law.
guitar out of a paddleboard, you can only play the Beach Boys and other associated
I
forms
actually
of
feel like
old man music.
paddleboards might be closer to like a Jimmy Buffet.
Oh, that feels mean to paddleboarders.
Like, you don't necessarily need to be somewhere with waves. You just need the water and a few
Yeah, that's
few
true.
boat drinks.
Some
You know,
margaritas.
you could get by on a lake. You know, you don't even need the ocean for the paddleboard.
All right, you've simultaneously redeemed the joke and Jimmy Buffet. Gosh, I could go for a cheeseburger right now.
In paradise?
Freaking anywhere, man.
That does sound nice.
Yeah.
Even though we just had Mexican.
I know. It's like we had Mexican 4 hours
Should
ago.
I do this? Guys, should I make a surfboard guitar?
Yes.
It would be a ton of work. I know I could do it visually better than this. I have a lot of big questions about the structural integrity of a guitar made out of surfboard materials. I also have a lot of questions about the tonal integrity of it. Put it in my head, reinforce this thought that I have,
If you want Ryan
beg for it every chance you
if
get.
you want Ryan to make a surfboard guitar, like this video and leave a comment that says yes, surfboard guitar.
If I do it, I'm gonna really do it.
If
Like,
there-
it's gonna be a surfboard guitar for the surfers out
I
there.
want this video to have 1,000 likes and 1,000 comments if you want to see surfboard guitar videos.
Do you want to see surfboard guitar videos?
If you don't, then don't. It's fine.
You don't have to see them.
You don't have to do it.
You don't have to see that.
Ryan,
Yes, Steve.
what's new?
Was that our last ad? Is there one more? Oh, the
There's
vroom
one
vroom. We
more.
got one more after
Do you
that.
have anything? Oh my
We
gosh,
got more
we have more
mail.
packages.
We got
Before
more
we
mail.
do that,
I don't want to talk about anything new.
oh, okay, we're just gonna do mail.
Yeah.
Before we hit that, our UPS box is paid for by the Patreons. If
Yes.
you want to continue to support our UPS box, head on over to patreon.com/60cyclehumcast, or for as little as $1 a month and as much as whatever you want to do, you can support the making of this program. All right, let's open some mail. I'm going to start with this letter on top.
We got a letter.
I don't know who this is from. It says 2024 on the back. Let's see. It says, guys,
That's us. We're guys.
my husband and I really love the show. Whenever Ryan plays, it always makes my husband grab his guitar and jam with you. So to show you all some gratitude, I drew this for you from Russ and Meg.
Aww.
That's super fun.
That's
That's
us.
it. And it says, huh.
Look at you looking at me like, knock it off.
Yeah.
That's the
they
face
even
that
got
you
like
make.
the gray patch in the front of my beard.
And I look like an idiot because I am.
This is so cool. This is great.
That's
little
really
artwork.
great.
Awesome. That's a lot of fun. Thank you.
I don't look like an idiot. I look, you can clearly see my personality reflected in the illustration.
You're just having a lot of fun, and I'm,
I'm just like, yeah.
I like that.
Knock it
I
off.
like that I'm wearing a watch. This is a Rev shirt.
Oh, totally.
This is my Rev Nam shirt, and I'm wearing a watch. This is the attention to detail. Oh, and this is your They Might Be Giant shirt.
Yeah, only it's orange. Mine is purple.
I thought yours is
it's purple with orange print.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So I don't know what this is. It had an international shipping thing on it.
I believe it's from Australia.
It's from down under.
Australia.
It has other shipping stuff underneath all that. From the Tone Home.
Tone Home, that's what they are called. Hi, Ryan. Hooray, your powered pots are here. A few notes from me. I am primarily an electronics repair, servicing mainly vintage equipment for various studios and musicians. My business is HCR Electronics. However, I added the Tone Home storefront to my shop a while back to add some focus to vintage guitars because they are super cool. And I just wanted an excuse to use the Pac-Man letters in a logo. This was a financial mistake, but hey, it was fun for a while. So these powered pots are designed and built in Western Australia by me as a one small man operation with no budget, no finance, no plans to take over the world, no free time, and lots of coffee. The Fetish was really what started it all, so I don't know which one you're opening first.
I've got two of them here. I've got the Fuzz Bomber, and the Fetish is the other one here.
The Fetish was what really started it all. I've been building these in basic pedal form for years, mainly for my own customers, specifically for those who wanted a bit more gain drive in their vintage apps, but didn't want to modify them due to value or rarity. As it turned out, a lot of them went into use in all sorts of other setups, and I thought it would be fun to see if I could fit it onto the back of a pot.
And that's
so here
what
we are today.
did. So this is the whole thing. This is a whole effect that you can drop into your guitars, and it's got a little tiny battery clip, and he even included the batteries. These are fancy looking batteries, LR23As. They're for remote controls, doorbells, and alarms. Long-lasting power.
Yeah, it says the Fetish gives a lot, but it really depends on the amp you're using. We've tried this on a lot of amps, and generally all tube amps love it the most. Some solid state sound amazing. Of course, some amps, the love is lost. It's mainly dependent on the input circuitry as well as playing style. Surprisingly, the Fuzz Bomber was added purely because I kept seeing more and more vintage fuzz pedals coming in for repair, and although personally I'm not a fan of vintage fuzz, it seemed like a fun addition. So the Fetish and the Fuzz Bomber are currently available. Fetish for bass will be available soon. It's the same, just a slightly different gain setup in EQ.
They look like they're really easy to set up. There's only 3 places to solder to, and the instructions are, I mean, one is ground, one is in, and one is out. It's 3 solders and you're done, and you just have to replace a pot with it.
Says, by the way, if you like them and want any more or the other models, because he's working on a Chorus Echo Phaser wave tone,
and they're push
and an octave doubler. By the way,
an octave doubler?
Yeah, if you want any more or any of the other models when they're ready, just shout out. And let's not forget the Cool Tin. They come in as just for useful storage and all sorts of things. But if you hate them due to their unique small size, they will fit nicely in the bin. And the tin they come in for is useful as a display, for a reminder to never use them again. So it's win-win. Thanks, Brendan.
That's super cool. And you got a bunch of pics here for the Patreons. They're stamped out of a vinyl record. So if you get a needle on there just long enough, you can figure out what record this is and play a fragment, just a fragment of a song.
That's super cool.
I do want to say,
let me take a look at those.
You'll probably send these out to the Patreons. I have used picks made out of vinyl records before. They will scratch up your guitar. They will leave black marks all over the place. It's a fun thing to mess around with, but be aware. I want to drop that fuzz into the classic Vibe Jag. I think I want to replace the rhythm circuit and just drop it in there somewhere, which means I'm going to have to crack that thing open and reverse engineer the wiring, which is going to be a huge pain in the butt, isn't it? Maybe I should rethink this and put it into a different guitar. It'd be easy to drop it into the Mustang.
Yeah,
or the Liquid. It'd be fun to drop it into the Liquid.
So there is also a version, because you mentioned that he sent the LR23As, but there is also a version of this that comes with a 9-volt adapter if you want to use a 9-volt battery instead. And I think it would be pretty easy looking at this to, if you had this version and you wanted to swap it out for a 9-volt battery, it would be pretty easy to do.
Probably not.
I think it's
probably yes.
So I'm not sure if one has a better lifespan than the other, or if it's just a
I think it's
size
in
thing.
Terms of a fuzz, I bet that battery will last forever.
Yeah. This is actually a 12-volt battery.
Damn.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm stoked to try those out.
And some stickers.
I've always wanted a
Lots of
delay.
stickers.
I've always wanted an onboard delay on a guitar so I could tweak the time knob, but that would take a serious battery. Delays
I
take
do
a
really
bunch
like
of power.
these tins are a lot of
They're
fun.
cool. Really cool. Thanks for sending those out.
Yeah.
This last one, we know what this is.
We know what this
It's
is.
a giveaway, guys. We're gonna do Hoop Jumpers Club in a podcast episode. I should probably do.
Speaking of this shirt,
I should probably do like a standalone short YouTube video to announce this for everyone that doesn't watch the podcast. Derek from Rev Amps hit me up. And I was like, hey, I'm re-releasing my G pedals. We've got the G3 version 2 purple here, the G4 version 2 red here, and the G2 version 2 green. These are they're pedals. It's their standard pedals. It's the version 2. They released the version 2 as a blackout colorway, and Rev just wants you to know that colors are back. They're doing them in the colors. Derek asked if he could send them, and I was like, well, I've already demoed all these pedals before. Well, look at that. It's a chromey.
So chrome.
I didn't know it was going to be
That's so-
chromey.
It's in this room. This is like a very deep red, but in the room it looks purple.
There's the green. Well, there's a lot of blue light going on in here.
No,
right
I
now.
know. That's all I would say.
So I was like, I'm not going to do another demo, but if you want, I can give a pedal away. And he's like, well, if you're going to give them away, I'm going to send all 3. So we're going to give away all 3 of these, not to one winner. We're going to give one away to 3 winners. So 1 pedal per winner.
oh, weird. They all live at my house.
I want to see the purple one. The purple one is like the crazy, like nasal metal one. The red one is the hot metal one, but it's like fuller sounding. This is
Oh, nice.
that one's chromey too. Those are
Hot licks.
pretty. Look at it catch the light. When it
Did
just
they
flashes.
have the little badge before?
They didn't. The
It
badge
used to
is
be-
new.
It used to be a all silk screen, right?
Those
Or all
are beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to do a little short standalone video to announce the giveaway, but it'll be live. We'll have a link down in the description. So you know what to do. Click all the links, jump all the hoops, enter to win, and you could get one of these amazing, beautiful, colorful pedals from our friends over there at Rev. Good luck. To the victor go the spoils.
To the victor go the spoils.
And the spoils are Tone.
Spoiled by Toad.
What?
Not you, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
What?
Tony never spoils us. She just takes care of us and gives us exactly what we need every time.
This last ad was sent by King of Clons.
That's a great name.
This is a Juicy Guitars Engine 2024 metal.
This is a local builder.
Yeah, Juicy Guitars Ducati 900 SS Engine 2024, brand new. This guitar is made from mahogany, maple, rosewood, and 2 types of metal.
It looks like there's various pieces of acrylic and plexi too, because there's like a cover over like a belt part of the design.
Yeah.
So we've this is the same builder that does the Seahorse guitars, right? And the Octopus guitars.
I don't think so.
Oh, it's a different person.
I think this is a totally different person.
What?
This is $700 because the person you're thinking of, I believe, is in Fallbrook.
But they're also local and they're also making crazy themed guitars.
I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong.
All right.
But
Okay.
I don't.
I
think
thought
they're
I
the
knew what
same
was going on
person.
here, but it's a totally different local person.
I'm trying
doing
to,
a wild
I'm trying to look
guitar.
at the reflection and see if I recognize the person in the reflection of the thing. I don't think
I've
they're
been
the same
thinking of
person.
like every time I try to sell a guitar locally, getting a reflection of Brian's face
Oh my gosh.
the neck plate. So there's a lot going on here. They have gone to the effort of recreating an entire engine as a guitar shape,
Yeah.
and none of this is like, it's not ergonomic. We'll say that. This is a very impractical guitar shape. It's also a bit hard to follow because there is such a mixed material thing going on. And like on one on one hand, it's very detailed. Like you can tell that they care deeply about indicating all the important parts of a very specific motor. But on the other side, to I think the average eye, it's a lot of noise. My initial criticism here, visually, as a visual artist, you don't have to recreate the actual engine. Be inspired by the actual engine.
This is the Seahorse guitar.
I knew it. I knew it was the same person.
So but I'm thinking, and there's an Octopus guitar, but this is a different Seahorse and Octopus than the one that I think I'm thinking of.
All right. So be inspired by the engine. Like take visual elements out of it and incorporate them into a guitar design. Just full blown trying to recreate every detail of the engine, I think is unnecessary.
Right.
And I think it's also a bit limiting because now you're dedicated to indicating every single part. Maybe all the motorheads out there, all the automotive people will disagree with me and be like, no, this is excellent. This is excellent execution and a truly accurate depiction of the exact engine that we want to see as a guitar body.
Yeah, this is kind of the issue that I have with it as well. I think is I don't know what the hell I'm looking at.
Right.
Like
I've done automotive work. I've changed head gaskets on 2 different engines. Like I've been in there doing the grease monkey thing, and like I see what they're trying to indicate, but I couldn't tell you like certain parts of this. Like I see what they're trying to get at, and without being familiar with that specific engine, like I don't know. And it's visually hard to track. Like there's shapes on here that's like, is that meant to be a potato? Like it has this folksy outsider art element to it, which is charming, but it's also just a lot of noise. And there's some execution going on here. It's like, how is that part of it so precise and so clean, and other parts of it look like they were carved with a hand router without a plan, you know, like they were just going at it. Or like there's parts of this that just look like they're snipped with 10 snips and without any real actual design. And are parts of this metal, or are they seashell? It's hard to tell. It's just,
I mean, according to the
much is going on here.
According to the listing, it says it's made from mahogany, maple, rosewood, and 2 types of metal. So there are metal parts here.
So that must not be seashell. It's some kind of metal.
Presumably, whatever this part is, like these parts that are like the engine block would be metal.
Possibly.
I think is that the engine block? I don't know.
It's hard to tell what's metal and what is painted wood. And like I'm looking at the chain, is like that's got to be a real chain. They didn't carve a chain out of wood, so they've incorporated a real chain, but it's like a bike chain. There's so much going on here. It's really hard to track what visual elements are important and what could be done away with, you know? But I mean, clearly a lot of work went into this. Like this was not a weekend project. This is a labor of someone's love. And here we are trashing on it. Well, how much do they want for it?
This was originally listed for $2,500, and now it's $700. But I kind of wonder if this is one of those things where they listed it super high to try to get somebody to like watch it.
The problem is like
price dropped it.
You look at it at a distance, and it becomes nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what is that I'm looking at? You have to be really close to it to understand, like, oh, I think that's an engine. And even then it's hard to lock onto anything with your eye. I really think that my first critique stands. It's like, don't copy the engine, borrow from it, find inspiration from it, take characteristics and incorporate them into a guitar design. Just trying to recreate all the visuals of an engine is not working as a guitar in this instance.
Yeah, I don't even know how to like broach this. This is so far outside of
Right.
what anything I can have an opinion on, honestly.
What do you guys think? I've given up on any automotive hobby that I'd want to. I decided after changing 2 head gaskets on different cars that I just don't want to be a grease monkey, and so I walked away from that. And I hire people now.
I'm looking at this side angle, and the carving is so intricate.
I know some of it is so clean, and then some other parts of it are like, why is it like that? It's almost like some of it feels like it was cut by CNC. But other parts of it feel like they were roughed out with scissors.
Right.
Man, I don't mean that as a bad thing. It's fine if you want to rough things out with scissors, but some sort of visual continuity is missing, I think. But I don't know. You guys tell us what you think down in the comments section. Okay, what
is what we got to make a decision here for the Adventurers Club.
We sure do, Steve. I've already closed my thing. I've reopened it. I'm gonna go Surfy.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go Vroom Vroom.
You're gonna go Vroom Vroom?
I'm gonna go Vroom Vroom.
You know what that means?
We gotta spin the wheel.
That's right. We've got wheels in space.
Yeah, it's a good thing we got enough artificial gravity for this wheel to still work.
I was explaining the gravity situation to someone earlier today.
Oh.
I'm not gonna repeat it. You had to be there. All right, put it on the spin. You do the honor, Steve.
You want me to spin, huh?
Yeah.
Wheel of Morale. Wow.
That was
odd.
You won it. So congratulations. The Vroom Vroom is sent to us by the King of Clons, royalty.
Yeah.
I feel honored to be graced by royalty.
Congrats, King of Clons. This song was sent by Tom Finn. It says, my name is Tom Finn. I play in a band called The Lucky Break from just outside Philadelphia. We're an alt-rock band that met on Craigslist a few years ago, and we finally have our first official release. The song is called Slow Driver and was written by Jamie Marks, our frontman. It's about the assumptions and stories we make up about other people to make ourselves feel better. You can find us on all of the social media things. Hope you like it, Tom Finn.
To the guy ahead of me driving slow, is it that you don't know where to go? Are you enumerate or are you stoned? I guess we'll never know. 'Cause everybody's telling stories, everybody lies. Everybody's telling stories, and this time you're mine. Slow driver, slow driver, slow driver. Well, I told myself a story about your day, how you hit someone's dog then drove away. You left a shitty tip, stole the whole jar. That's just who you are. 'Cause everybody's telling stories, everybody lies. Everybody's telling stories, and this time you're mine. Slow driver, slow driver, slow driver. 'Cause everybody's telling stories, everybody lies. Everybody's telling stories, and this time you're mine.
super duper fun. That was a great song.
We've been getting these fun kind of like punk, pop punk, kind of skate punk, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever kind of punk it is, driving punk.
That was definitely driving punk for sure. That was automotive punk.
Been a lot of fun.
All right. Thanks for sending your song. Thanks for sending all your ads and listings, whatever you want to call them. And thanks for making it to the very end of the episode. Bye,
That's right.
everybody.
Stay grounded.